Hi everyone and welcome to this workout video as we start our true speed or more speed endurance type of workouts here at Wharton High School in Tampa, Florida. Those workouts that produce acid. So in this video I decided to split it up in between two different parts. The first part is going to include me talking here a little bit about the workout intensity, and then the team meeting we do beforehand where we really talk about the science behind it, the training design. I like my kids to always know why they're doing anything, not just what they're doing. I think you get a lot more out of something when you know why you're doing it, not just what you're supposed to be doing. And then for those of you that maybe just want to see the actual workout itself, there's a partner video in the description down below, as opposed to having one long 20-25 minute video split it up into two different ones. So you're about to see the team meeting, but this is the intensity that we're talking about here for these kids as we're looking at it. Intensive tempo, I'd say 85% in the team meeting, but the window I give them is 84 to 86% of this 400 meter test that we did the previous week, about a week before this workout. This is something you want to kind of try and update, just maybe not quite as often as you've seen me do VO2 max workouts, but every 3 to 4 weeks you want to do it either as a workout, part of a workout, throw them in a 4x4 if you have space to put them in a race and you have the ability to do it and doesn't mess up the rest of what you're trying to do. You want to know what this is so you know where these workout types should be. Now, unlike VO2 max, where it's really important to hit that for that actual encouraging of your body to be able to use more oxygen that you've heard me talk about in those aerobic power VO2 max workout videos, this one is more sort of like a test. If they are in shape anaerobically, they should be able to do this workout based on what you're kind of choosing, and you may need to do more of it if they're not able to hit these times. It just means anaerobically they're not in shape, they're not able to neutralize the acid that you're going to hear us talk about in the team meeting here. So what we're looking at here, our top kid Jared, 63 to 61. Then we've got a big group here that's just under 70 seconds. So what I'm doing in the actual workout is everybody from Brady is actually 6, so he's not at this workout, but everybody from Ethan here up is going to be one group you'll see when we kind of go and do the video itself, and then Kevin and down is another group, just because you can see it's such a large number of people. So this is their first time doing it. They did the 400 meter test the week before. They'll do this, and then they'll kind of trade in between. You hear me talk about 9-day cycles because we've been using 7 days previously, the 7 workout types we usually do, your VO2 max, your long runs, recovery runs mixed in there, tempo runs, hill runs, fly 30s. Well, now we're adding Special Endurance 2 and Special Endurance 1. This would be their range when we start doing that next week. As you can see, it's much more intense. This goes out to 600 meters, 300 to 600 meters, and this is 150 to 300 meters. It's a little bit more intense and a little bit shorter. So that's kind of the idea behind this. Let's see how things played out as I was introducing these concepts to the kids in our team meeting, and then if you want to see the actual workout itself, it's in the description down below. New workout type for this year that goes in with the specific prep season. As you saw last week with the 400 was a new workout type, and now we're going to start adding onto it now that we have a 400 meter to do this test on. So second week of specific prep, we're still looking on. The aerobic system is still the most important thing, but now the anaerobic system begins to develop in its importance because we are at that point of the year where we're about 12 weeks now from the state meet, so we want to make sure that we're peaking that and the aerobic system together, okay? Today's workout is intensive tempo, all right? So we're going to do our normal warm-up run and drills. We're going to do the bounding circuit that we did a couple times earlier this year, and we're going to do 5 to 6 of these 400s at intensive tempo. I'll remind you guys where that is on the energy continuum in a second, but essentially it's 85% of that 400 meter test that you did last Thursday. Okay, it is going to be on grass. You're going to do it without your shoes at this point, so you can get more of a push off. And then we're going to have 90 seconds of active recovery. So very short rest, so the intensity is going to be low. If I gave you 10 minutes in between and said go as fast as you can, the intensity would be up. So don't confuse low rest with high intensity. Because it's short rest, you're not going to be able to go max effort like you did on the 400, because that's your 100%. Okay, and then we're going to have a 3-mile cool down. Again, we still need to make sure we're working on the aerobic system. It's a 7-mile total day, so it's still a relatively high volume day, but lower than most of our days have been in the past. Okay, so intensive tempo, just so that you guys know what this works with, and for the most part, we've been dealing with the aerobic system when we look at this energy continuum, right? Okay, this is from the USATF Coaching Education. So what we've been dealing with mostly has been here. Okay, VO2 max tests and runs, out to easy runs, tempo workout. We don't do anything at 10K pace or 5K pace at this point of the year, but that's where they would fit in. And we've been doing those fly 30s. And we said for the last whole bunch, ignore this part of the energy continuum. We are no longer ignoring it. This is now what we are working, okay? So the 400, if we were to scroll down just a little bit here, is special endurance 2, okay? Right in this whole area, 800 meter pace. What we're working here today in intensive tempo is specifically the mile pace. So that's what we're sort of working on here today, getting the acid levels to the point to where you can handle the mile. If anybody in the middle of that mile when we were in the preseason meet, there was that point where it grabs you in the middle, that jelly-like feeling, and we didn't quite have that kick yet, okay? The idea behind this workout is for your body to be able to tolerate the acid so that now we can push that final 400 much harder than you can at this point of the season. Yeah, Ethan?
Wouldn't it be too close to the meet on Friday to do stuff for the
today?
mile? Yeah.
No.
I thought you said you need to do it 2 weeks before.
2 weeks before to really start to develop. Yeah, so you're not going to get adaptation here for that meet, absolutely. We're talking 2 weeks down the line, but we have to have that window is still about 9 weeks to 10 weeks to peak the system, then you can hold it for 2 to 3. So that's why I say 13 total, okay? So yeah, this is not something we're going to get here. So that mile, though, that we did at the preseason meet, technically would help this a little bit. Everything lags about 2 to 4 weeks. What we're getting ready for here now is more the Cowboy Invitational, and then after that, FSU, divisionals, that kind of thing. That's what we're getting ready for here in terms of where we are in terms of timing, okay? Yet other workouts that you'll see on that chart that I sent you guys that was based on your 400, extensive tempo is basically your VO2 max plus a little bit more. Okay, that's 75% of the 400. Intensive tempo, special endurance 2, 93 to 95% of that 400 you did, and it's 300 to 600 meters. And then special endurance 1, which is the fastest acid-producing workout that this group will do, is 96 to 98% of that 400, but you only do it out to 300 meters, so it's shorter. So the more intense, the shorter, okay? If you were an 800-meter runner or a 400-meter runner, you would do another workout type called speed endurance, which is kind of right in here, and it's only out to 150 meters, and it's really not that specific for a miler or a 2 miler. It'd be a little specific for a miler, but definitely not for a 2 miler, so we just kind of skip it. Yeah.
So the higher intensity workouts are shorter distance.
Exactly. Up to same thing why we can do our long run for theoretically up to 2 hours. We typically do about 80 to 85 minutes in this part of the year in track. So yeah, the longer it is, the less intense it is. The shorter it is, the more intense it is. It's just kind of that inverse rule. And actually, our training year will start to get to that point. Right now, our volume is still relatively high, the total miles for the week, and now our intensity is starting to creep up. At some point, it'll start to go the other way, and the intensity will be higher, and the volume starts to come down, as we're now prepared for it. We talked about the aerobic system taking 20 to 25 plus weeks to peak, but it also takes a long time to regress. So you guys will start to notice we're going on more of a 9-day cycle. So it's kind of been, you've been able to see it. We have a VO2 max workout every week. We have a long run every week, maybe a tempo run and a hill or a fly 30 run mixed with some recovery runs. Well, now because we're adding in all this, I've got more workouts to get in. We're going to be on a 9-day cycle. So there'll be weeks where we don't have a long run, or we don't have a VO2 max run, or a tempo run, or anything, because I have to get more stuff in, and I'm not going to fit my training year just because when we started making calendars, we decided 7 days, okay? We have more things than 7 to get done, so I need to change my training plan to get everything in that we need. If we were an 800-meter runner talking about special endurance, I would have to extend that out to almost 12 days to get that extra training stimulus in. If that makes sense to everybody?
Yes,
Okay?
sir.
So yeah, it would be lovely if I had 7, but I don't have 7. I've got more than that, okay? Because we just added these more things in. Intensive tempo is going to replace Special 1 and Special 2 for this first week, but you'll start to see Special 1 and Special 2 workouts specifically separated out. We're just sort of scratching the surface here today. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Now, I want to look at a couple of different things in terms of, just as a reminder, this is the problem. This is what we need to get tolerant to. This is what drops your body's pH. This is the lactic acid, which comes with producing energy in a very fast period of time without oxygen, with stored glucose, or glycolysis, okay, is what it's called. The lactate splits off, and this is what causes the jelly-like feeling. We need your body to be able to tolerate an increased number of this. It's not that you are able to tolerate a lower pH level, because once your body slips out of the normal range, if you guys have
biology, anatomy, all those different classes you could have taken. Enzymes only work in a very specific range, okay? So it's not that we can tolerate more of this in a vacuum, it's that your body stores things to neutralize it. Base type substances like sodium bicarbonate, the hemoglobin in your blood, a couple different things that your body can store. That's really all anaerobic training is, be able to store more of these base products so that we can tolerate the acid, okay? Workouts that you're gonna do now that are gonna hurt a whole lot more than they will later on in the season is because we have those products that can neutralize the acid. You're gonna be able to develop more acid later on in the year because you're gonna be able to work harder because we have more of these things to neutralize the acid, okay? What we need to do is get specific levels of acid, and I've shown this in terms of how different races hurt a little bit more. As 1500 meter, 1600 meter, 3200 meter runners, we need to get used to this level of acid, okay? We've been doing this for quite a bit from those VO2 max intervals. Really the acid is the limiting factor on these days, but it's not high enough to start that window of peaking that we've been talking about. Today, we're gonna up the level to about 15 millimoles. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it is when your body's not used to it. So the idea is this workout, if we're doing 5 to 6 of them, they're about 60 to 90 second reps with 90 seconds in between. You're gonna be experiencing this level of acid for about 15 minutes. As we extend out the reps, as we extend out the rest a little bit, you're not gonna be able to clear it. So that's really where the benefit comes from, a longer exposure to the acid, up to about 30 minutes when we're able to really kind of go really fast, if that makes sense, okay? So this is what we're preparing you for, this right here. Okay? Speed endurance, which is more intense, that workout type that we don't do, would prepare you more for these races because they're more intense. Okay? And then the last slide that I have to show you guys is this one. A lot of you guys, we've gone to this, the kids that I was dealing with before, we never did active recovery before, that jogging recovery, okay? Some of you guys that were new in cross country, we did that fun little workout. We made you guys sit there still and felt how horrible the acid felt afterwards. And with us, this is the chart that kind of shows active recovery. It's the blood lactate level. So we measure lactate because it's a bigger substance. We can't measure acid because it's so small. But this is what would happen if you're active on the recovery versus passive, okay? So this is after an all-out 400, and this is recovery. So this is at 16 millimoles, okay? The first 30 seconds, it doesn't make a difference. Because actually blood lactate trails behind muscle lactate because your muscles put it into the blood. Mm-hmm. So that's why there's this lag factor here. But then you can see how much more recovery you get from active recovery versus passive recovery. So that's why active is always superior. You're still going to be over 4, okay? Remember, we talked about high acid level is anything over 2 to 2.5, which is like a tempo workout. So we're still going to be at an elevated level of acid. So the idea being is we're going to be able to do more of these reps. They're going to be more quality reps because we're moving in between. If you don't move at all, it comes down, but look how much longer it takes. But then after 10 minutes, it really doesn't matter. So the idea being is this workout can take much less time and we can get more quality work in that shorter period of time with active recovery. Does that make sense to everybody?
That's why.